Hi, welcome to Salty at 60, or welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how to build a wardrobe from scratch, or if you are reinventing yourself, such as I am, or you would like to change your style, I've got 5 tips to share with you before you even begin your journey or before you buy that first piece. So let's get to it.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be
The first style tip is know your style. And that's a tricky one because maybe you don't know your style. Maybe you're playing with new styles. That's an exciting journey to do. So don't get too caught up in being worried about what your style is. But I do have some tips for you if you're not familiar on, if you've never been down this journey like I wasn't a year ago when I started it. One piece of advice that I got from several different style bloggers that I thought was really, really helpful was to pick 3 or 4 words that describe yourself. You know, how you like to dress, or a dressing style that you really do want to incorporate. You know, and I would steer away from words that are just not descriptive enough. Like I wouldn't put down, say, comfortable. I mean, we all want to be comfortable. But it could be casual, it could be classic, it could be dressy, it could be edgy, it could be boho, it could be sporty, just whatever that may be. So start with doing that, and I'm going to link below this video some really great quizzes that I came across that help you think about what to, how to get those descriptors for your style, to a style. And this may be really difficult for some of you. It's actually still difficult for me because I just started my style journey about a year ago. And, I started to lean into that one style. And I realized that, it's not meeting all of my needs for all of my different personalities. I know that sounds terrible, but, not every day do I want to dress in all classics or preppy style. So one of the greatest pieces of advice that I had received was from other style bloggers who said the easiest way to start is to pick 3 or 4 descriptor words that describe the style either you want to dress in or the style that you kind of lean into already. And that way, when you're looking at clothes, whether online or in store, keeping those descriptors in your mind or even in your phone will help you steer away from a piece that's not going to take you in the direction that you've determined you want to go into. So I think that's a really good, helpful tip in finding your style. One of the other things that I would recommend if you are not doing this already is create a mood board. Mine's on Pinterest, wherever you're comfortable working on. Could be on your phone, doesn't have to be anything special. But create a place where you can collect pictures and images that you come across either on Instagram, TikTok, online shopping, whatever you're doing that really, really catch your eye and that you really like them, and save them in a special place. And at some point a little bit later down the line, you need to go back and actually study those photos. You need to look at the image and say, what do I like about this image? And you might find that maybe that you just think the woman's beautiful. She's got the perfect hair, she's got the perfect makeup, she's got the perfect background. And when you study the clothes, you might decide, well, that outfit really doesn't do it for me. But I think that helps you also, put together what kind of style you want to lean into. And let me tell you why that's important, because you may find yourself in a position where whenever you go to get dressed, nothing seems to go together. You don't have one piece that matches with another piece that you can kind of switch out and just make different outfits with. And that's a common problem to have. And it's because you have skipped this first important step of figuring out what style you want to lean into. The second component to this is once you've decided on, the styles you want to lean into, you need to pick a color palette, because again, you will find yourself in a position of buying pieces that may not be able to be matched with other pieces in your wardrobe that you pick up. And, this can be as restricting as you want. Some people may only do 3 colors. That's way too restrictive for me. I have about 5 colors. Really, it's really just 3 colors. 2 of them are neutrals, which neutrals I sort of lean into. But this will help you it will help keep you from making purchasing mistakes, because you can go back and You might like really like a piece, and you save that picture and you save it where you've been saving your other images, and you look at how the colors are going together and how the styles are going together, and you may decide that piece is not for me, or may work perfectly for you. So I think that's really important. The other element of this is figuring out what your lifestyle is. And your lifestyle may be changing. And I think a lot of younger women probably fall into this trap more than, my salty at 60s. And I think that's because, they're so busy moving, in their 20s and starting to build their careers, maybe having children, so that by the time they get to be, 35 to 40, they really haven't stopped to think about what their lifestyle is anymore. And they may still be purchasing for that younger self, that different version of themselves, maybe before they became a mother or before they were in the professional working world or whatever that may be. So I think it's very, very important to decide, what your lifestyle is and buy for your lifestyle, and not your fantasy lifestyle, not your fantasy self, but the lifestyle that you currently live. And I think that will keep you from buying pieces that are sort of like one-offs that you won't get very much use out of. And speaking of going into different phases of life, this is for both younger women and my salty at 60s, is, I have a favorite style blogger. Her name is Beth Jalali. I think that's how you pronounce it. And she always says that clothes don't have ages on them. They have sizes. And I totally agree with that. However, I do feel like we can put ourselves in a position to where we actually look silly if we're dressing for a body we no longer have. If you're in your mid to late 30s and you're still dressing in really short skirts, but you're a mom and you have a couple toddlers hanging around, or maybe you have maybe you're dressing like your teenage daughter. I think it's time to evaluate, where you're at. It's nothing inherently wrong with any of that. It's just, how do we become our better selves, ladies? How do we grow into the people we are becoming? And, that is same for us older ladies, because, there was a lot of advice when I was in my 50s and I was trying to figure out what to do as my body was changing. That was just like, you can't wear this and you can't wear that, and women of this age shouldn't wear that. There's still a lot of that around the internet. Of course you can wear shorts. Of course you can wear sleeveless things. All of that depends on where you live, what the climate is like, how casual your lifestyle is, and how comfortable you are in your own skin. So, I'm not putting down anybody who, wants to dress in a way that is, quote, inappropriate. I'm just trying to give you some pointers on things you should do. And, here's the other type of lady that I see is somebody who, she gets into her 50s and she's just in a complete rut. She doesn't like what her body looks like at this point. She may be having some health issues. She may not be feeling well anymore. And so every day is just sort of a struggle for her. And, at some point while she was busy doing all those things, raising her children or building her career and working all the time, time just passed her by, and she hasn't paid attention to anything that, in my opinion, makes us, feminine. The things that are fun for us girls. We get to be girls. We get to like clothes and like jewelry and all the things that make us girls. And, they've neglected that part of themselves. And that is really sad, because you can, they're the type of women that you see that are always wearing like baggy jeans that have, they haven't changed the style of their jeans in 10, 15 years. They're wearing oversized hoodies, oversized, sweatshirts, and they'll wear them everywhere. They'll wear them out to dinner. They'll just wear them anywhere. So all of that to be said is, like, if you're here and you want to learn a little bit about how to change your style, I'm not here to tell you what's in style, what's not style. I mean, we have a lot of fun with those videos, but this is more about exploring who you are and how to show up for your best self. So definitely choose for your lifestyle, pick the right colors, and absolutely, find a couple style words that you believe are good descriptors for yourself. So that is step one. Let's talk about step number two. Okay, step number two is very simple but important. I think that before you go and start making a list or deciding what you want to change, you need to take an inventory of what you already own in your closet. And, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it's a good idea to just go through your clothes, organize them by color, organize them by type, whatever that is, and figure out what's hanging in your closet that you just don't wear anymore, or you're not interested in wearing anymore. And also take note of the colors you seem to be, gravitating toward. Maybe it's not colors, maybe it's patterns. Maybe you love stripes or checks or florals, whatever that means for you. Take note of that, but also take a look at what your closet may be lacking. And I think that this is one of the most simple and fun steps that you can take. And also, you want to clear some of that old stuff out to make room for the new. And but it is an essential step. Nobody goes, no professional football player, comes into the game without a game plan. They all know what the plays are going to be. They all work together as a team. You have decided to go on a style journey. You want to up your game. Maybe you want to be more fresh for whatever decade you're living in. But don't walk out the door without having a game plan. So, we've covered the groundwork of that in step number 1. But step number 2 would be deciding which pieces you lack the most. That may be slacks, pants, jeans, blouses, those third item pieces, cardigans, jackets, that sort of thing. So make a game plan. The other thing that I would say is decide when you start to shop what season you are going to shop for. Now, for myself, when I started this, and I tend to be still doing this, is I'm buying and purchasing items for not the current season. And the one good thing about that is that you can find some real bargains out there. The other thing is oftentimes everything's sort of picked over. So just know what season you're shopping for. And also don't, discount something that you may really want to put into your wardrobe because it's not in the season you're shopping for. I mean, if you come across something that is a piece that's just all you, or it's just a fabulous price and you will wear it, if it's the styles, if it's your descriptor words, purchase it. Here's the thing, ladies, when I was purchasing things for out of season, and this may be a tip that would help you as well, or it doesn't even matter if you're shopping for your season or not, is I would shop and things would come in and, of course I'd try them on. These are things that I ordered online, made sure they fit, and then I would put them away. And I found myself, as months went by, not remembering what I've already purchased. So one of the tips that I would have for you is, either take a picture of the item yourself and, keep it where you're keeping all your other images, things, that you've bought for a particular season, or, or just take like the picture from the catalog, or not the catalog, the internet picture that, you purchased from the retailer, and store that with all of your other images. I mean, most of us are not blessed with having those gorgeous, closets you see online where, it's basically, like a room in and of itself, and you can see all of your clothes in one season. I would say most of us don't have that lifestyle, or we don't have that room, we don't have that luxury. I certainly didn't. At the end of every season, I pack up a lot of what I own and I put them in, giant bins that are waterproof and bug-proof, and I just slip them away because I don't have enough room in my closet. And also I find it to be a little confusing when you have too many things out at the same time. You're just trying to find a simple outfit. Do you really want to have to sift through things that, are completely inappropriate for you to be wearing in a particular season? So anyway, that was my last step. That was step 2, sorry. Anyway, so let's talk about the next step. Okay. This is a really, really, really important step, and I probably should have even done this first, and that is take your measurements. And you may be thinking, I know my body, I buy clothes for myself all the time, I know what size I wear, but it can be really tricky, especially when you are shopping online. I have found that even certain retailers online, the size charts will change from each piece that I'm popping up because it more than likely was a different manufacturer who made the piece to begin with. So, before you buy anything that's sitting in your cart, you absolutely want to check, all those measurements, on that size chart to make sure it's going to fit you. And I would say, measuring yourself is not a big deal. It takes 10 or 15 minutes, but I would recommend that you measure, the length. Like for me, where my shirts hit me are very important. Excuse me. So I measure from the top of my shoulders to where ideally I like my shirts to hit. And that's particularly helpful right now because, the crop shirt is in. And I'm not talking about the crop shirts that go up like basically right underneath your bust. Most ladies watching this are not going to be wearing that style. But crop meaning that it is supposed to hit you at the top of your waist, especially where the high-waisted pants are. And that can be a very flattering look, but everybody's body is different. You may have a longer torso, and shorter legs. I'm pretty even, but I'm taller. I'm a bigger lady, so I do need to pay attention to that. Also, measure the length of your arms. You need to know the length of the arms so that if you are purchasing anything that is long sleeve, you're going to know that it's going to hit you at the right place. You don't want it to be too long. You don't want it to be too short. Obviously, you're going to want to measure your waist, and you can measure your hips. My hip area is not a big deal for me. They're practically non-existent, so I don't even worry about my hips. And then, of course, your inseam. Write these down and keep them in mind. If you are losing weight or gaining weight, or the body is really changing, maybe you're going through menopause, you probably want to measure once every month just to make sure that you're, purchasing the right size bras, the right size pants. Everything is just really difficult because of the way manufacturing is right now and the sizes being all over the place. So taking your measurements is really, really going to save you a lot of time and hassle, and just making sure that pieces are going to fit you. So the next tip we're going to talk about is avoiding those cheap clothes I've mentioned before. So let's get to it. Okay, so don't laugh at me, but when I started this journey about a year ago, I had never heard of Shein. Didn't know who they were, didn't know anything about them. And when I stumbled across them on the internet, I was like, wow, these clothes are super, super cheap. And I must have ordered like $150 worth of clothes. And I mean, I got a lot of items for that $150. And I said, this is great. And the clothes came, while those were actually hadn't even arrived, I was just drawn right back to that website. And, and also their ads kept following me around as I was, shopping online. And I was like, why buy this shirt for this price when I can get, 3 of these shirts for this price? And I fell down that rabbit hole. And so I ordered another like $150 worth of clothes. And I cannot tell you how disappointed I was when those clothes came in. They were so cheaply made. Some of the items had like unfinished seams and hems. The material was just super, super cheap. I'll give you an example. I bought this one like really cute maxi dress. Me and my family were going to go to Florida, and I wanted to wear, something that was like breezy and nice, and just a pretty long maxi dress. And so I ordered it from Shein. It came in. It did have a slit up the side. The slit on the side of this dress literally came up to like, my hip bone. And I was like, oh my God, I'm 5'10", so I can't even imagine, somebody who is like, 5'5" and under buying this dress and being able to wear it without having to sew up the seam. But these, and also on that same dress, it had stripes in it. None of the stripes lined up on the seaming. It was just a mess. So, and I can tell you that in that first year that I was trying to figure out what my style was and I was buying clothes, I think there's only one shirt that I kept out of that whole shopping trip. What a disaster. So, purchase what you can afford. My last video was about, how that could, that mindset of having, so much lack can really hinder what you're purchasing. I'm not a big believer that, classics never go out of style and it's a timeless wardrobe kind of thing, because it's simply not true. Classics do change. They get tweaked every 4 or 5 years. The difference is if you get a classic type piece, it's not trendy. It's not going to like go out of style immediately. You should get 5 to 10 years worth of, wear out of it if it's quality made, and depending on what type of piece it is. So I don't believe that you necessarily, have to have everything be timeless, but we do want to get, some good wear out of the clothes we buy, and we want it to be something that's not so trendy that we're having to buy a new wardrobe every season, because frankly nobody can afford that and it's wasteful. So that's my tips, and I think my last tip is going to be evaluating your accessories. So let's talk about that. Okay, so let's talk accessories. And I'm not going to go real deep into this subject because you can do entire videos on this, but when I say accessories, I'm mainly thinking about shoes, handbags, sunglasses or eyewear, scarves, belts, that sort of thing. Right now, belts are having a really big moment. So, I mean, if you haven't been wearing belts, you might want to think about that silhouette depending on what style you're leaning into. But here's what I would say is when it comes to your accessories, I think that's where you can have a lot of fun. I mean, it's good to have a few basics, like, have a black belt, have a brown belt. But, if you want to add, like, let's say metallics are still really in right now, go get you a gold or a silver belt. And belts, like anything else, changes fashion. If you're dressing in any sort of Western style, obviously the big buckles are still in and the big belts are still in. And that goes for boho style as well. However, I'm also seeing a lot of thin, skinny belts that were really, really popular in the 80s and 90s. I'm seeing them everywhere. And so, you could update with that and have a little fun with that. And I'm also seeing a lot of the wrap belts, which, gosh, I haven't seen those in years. But those can look really nice. If you have a dress that has like a tie around the waist and it comes with its own belt, it's really nice to be able to just take that belt off and replace it with like a nice leather wrap belt. Those are just beautiful. As far as handbags, have fun with them, but have your neutrals covered. And also remember to buy your handbags based on your lifestyle, because, as much as I like a nice, really shiny, high patent leather bag that just catches my eye, or something that's beaded and it's just a beautiful work of art, that's not going to work in my everyday life. You have to have your basics of, if you're somebody that just the only time you run out of the house is to go to the grocery store or Walmart, wherever, and you just go out occasionally, with friends or family, you don't want to invest in a lot of these fancy pieces because you're not going to get enough wear out of them. The other thing that I would say with handbags is buy handbags that match your stature. In other words, I'm 5'10", and I'm not going to buy a mini bag. I mean, the only time I even buy like the really small crossover bags, and I do own one of those, is just really and truly when I am out and all I need is my phone and my ID and maybe, my bank card, something like that, because I'm not going to be able to fit anything else in it. And it doesn't really match to my stature. I think your handbag should match, how large or how small you are. I mean, to a degree. I mean, whenever you see like a really tiny, you might say a 5'2" woman, carrying some huge handbag, it's not going to make her lines look good. So I would definitely recommend that you keep that in mind on that. As far as footwear, again, just buy what's more appropriate for your wardrobe. Get your classics first that go with other pieces, your neutrals, and then after that, have some fun with your shoes. So that's really all I'm going to say about accessories. I hope you got something out of this video. I hope some of these tips helped you and will help you, save a little money, save a little time, and save a little bit of frustration. So thanks for watching today.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.